Recently, Paulette and I were interviewed about our experience in Mexico and our experience on a YouTube channel by a podcaster. So here is that interview. Go ahead and check it out.
All right. Welcome, Marc and Paulette, to the Fempreneur podcast. These two are called the Two Travelers in Mexico. Tell us where you guys are in the world right now, and tell us how hot it is there.
We live in San Luis Potosi, Mexico, and I think it's somewhere in the 80s, maybe low 80s for the temperature. It's normally we're in like July, which for a lot of people is the hottest time of the year, but here it's actually a little bit cooler because this is also the rainy season. Though it's not raining right now, it's kind of sunny out. But.
Right. Okay, so how long have you lived there?
We've been here.
Well, here in San Luis Potosi, I think we've been here 4 years.
Just about 4 years.
Yeah, we started our first year in Mexico in Morelia, Michoacan.
Okay, I don't know where that is. Okay.
I'm horrible on geography, so he can tell you.
I'll look it up.
Okay.
Awesome. I'll look that one up because that's another place I haven't heard of yet. So I was attracted to you guys and wanted you on this podcast because I think your YouTube channel is fantastic, and I think you've really found a niche group of followers, and it really feels like a community when you get into the comments and you start seeing the way everyone's interacting. You're doing such a great job. And so, like I was saying to you before we went live, a lot of our listeners on the Fempreneur podcast are women entrepreneurs who are struggling with getting out there on social media, on YouTube. And you two have obviously figured out how to get over that fear, how to get into a rhythm, how to be consistent, how to talk to a specific niche group of people. So I just want you to tell all of your stories to do with that and just inspire our listeners to be more bold and brave. So when did you decide to start a YouTube channel, and tell us a bit of that story?
You want to take that?
Sure. I would say we moved here in November of 2019, and we just had some stories to tell about our move here, and so we actually started our channel in December of 2019, really just to appeal to friends and family. And I mean, we would post our stuff on our Facebook group that we have.
It was basically so friends and family could kind of see what we were doing, because everybody was like, "Oh my God, you're gonna get murdered as soon as you cross the border into Mexico. Are you crazy?" So we thought this would be a great way to show them, this is what we're doing. We're alive and well. We're breathing. Life is good.
I mean, I retired from my work in 2019, and I had friends say, they were sad because they figured I was going to be, murdered by the cartel or something immediately after crossing the border. So every once in a while, I send them a message. I'm still here alive in Mexico.
Well, some of them are subscribers.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
Nice. And you have 5,300-ish, you said, subscribers as of today on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's taken us 5 years. It's taken us 5 years to get that many.
Right.
And then slowly some other people started tuning into our channel and then subscribing and following us. As far as like self-promotion, we really kind of suck at that still, because, other YouTubers, they're constantly in our videos. If you like what we're doing, please subscribe and hit the like button and notification bell. 3/4 of the time we forget to say that or do that or anything. We just present the information and let it go from there.
Okay, well, let's jump in right now, Marc. Good reminder. Let's jump in right now. Everyone who's watching, make sure to subscribe to the Travelers in Mexico on YouTube, and of course to Lyndsey Barrie, myself on YouTube, and like this video because that helps it get out there to more people. And it just, it helps. It's the greater good. We're just helping the world here. We're just trying to do good things and spread good information. Yeah. So tell us more about going from, the last 5 years of building this YouTube channel. What have been some things that maybe surprised you about it that were wildly successful, or maybe things you thought were going to work really well that didn't, or just anything you can think of?
Almost everything I thought was going to work well did not. I'll just tell you that much. You think, oh, this looks like it's going to be an interesting topic, or this looks like it's going to be some interesting footage, and YouTube comes back with their analytics and basically no, people weren't interested in that.
Okay.
It's really hard to know. I mean, we'll review our videos, you know, I mean, you know, they take a while to do, to edit and all that stuff and put in stuff and whatever. But, you know, sometimes we think, oh, wow, that's really going to be good. And it flops. So I just don't know what people are looking for. So you know what? Now we just do what we think is good information. If we get a lot of views, great. If we don't, then we don't.
Yeah. You have to be happy with what you're doing. You know, if you're putting out content that you don't really want to put out, or you're not that excited about, but you're just going for views and stuff like that, that's probably not the right way to go about it. For me, you know, I'm retired. I'm kind of done working for someone else. So we just put out content that we like to do and we feel will be helpful to some people. And that may be why we'll probably always be a pretty small channel, which is fine.
I want to come back to the community piece, because one thing, and I'm curious to know if you feel like this is working for you guys, but one thing that it looks like is happening with your channel is when people ask you questions in the comments and you get the same question over and over again, it seems like you're making videos about the thing that they asked. So it's like, oh, we don't have a video about that yet. Lots of people are asking about that. Is that kind of how you get inspiration for some of your videos, just through the community and the comments?
Well, that's not true. We have gotten some of that. People ask you questions, and there have been some videos that think, you know, this is obviously a topic that's missing out there. Maybe we can put something out about it, and you know, just our spin on stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think people appreciate that, you know, and that's what keeps them loyal as subscribers too. If you're interacting with your audience, whether, you know, responding to all the comments and things like that, or, you know, just saying, hey, you know, please feel free to reach out to us if you have other questions about moving to Mexico or life in Mexico. Just helping them feel engaged, you know, in your channel, so that there's some kind of a vested emotional interest.
Yeah, which is exactly the experience I had. Like I searched on YouTube about pet sitting in Mexico, because I'm doing a lot of pet sitting in Canada right now, and I'm coming to Mexico in October or November, and I was curious to know, well, like, how do people find pet sitting gigs there? And that's how I found you guys. And so that video was really helpful. And then I found all these other videos that I really liked, and so I basically was like, you two seem awesome. I'm enjoying your channel. I subscribed right away, did all the things, liked the video. And then I was like, wait a minute, these are great people for my podcast, right? So the beautiful thing I think about what you guys are doing is just the ripple effect you're creating is endless. And sometimes we don't even realize it. Or like, how long ago did you make that video, if you can remember, about pet sitting in Mexico, about that website?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe a year and a half ago, roughly.
Okay. So yeah, like I just thought that was neat, and then it got me thinking, well, maybe that's one of those videos that you guys were like, no one really watched it. It didn't have the greatest performance, but then it can be the catalyst to something like this that can get you guys a bunch of subscribers and have people notice you. So sometimes I think as content creators, we really do overthink it, and we, like you guys learned how to get into the rhythm and just create what we want to create and have fun with it and not overthink it. So that was a great reminder.
And like the house sitting in Mexico is a great way to go, because, you know, in exchange for watching people's pets or dogs or watering their plants or whatever, you're getting to experience, you know, some new part of Mexico that you maybe never been to before, but you're not paying for accommodations or anything like that.
And that's where the savings actually comes in for those that want to see Mexico, but you know, your accommodations can really add up. If you're a pet lover, then it works out really well to do something like that. And then basically your accommodations are always free. And I know some people where they do it, like they leave one and they go straight to another and then straight to another and all over the place. You can go, you know, you can stay in a little area if you want to, or you can go all throughout Mexico. So it's a great thing, I think.
Yeah, that's really neat. And I mean, for the reason why, one of the main reasons why I really like you guys is I noticed right away that you're dog lovers. And,
Yeah.
now you have how many dogs in the house?
Three.
Right. So tell us a bit about your dogs. Tell us a bit about kind of just your day-to-day life and how you've acquired these dogs. And did you move to Mexico with any dogs, or have they all been?
No, I'll take this one.
Okay.
Okay, so no, we had a dog, and he was a bull pit mix. He was getting older in age, and we ended up having to put him down. We knew that we would have to before he moved to Mexico, and our whole deal was, well, you know what? We'll travel throughout Mexico. We don't have any responsibilities. And then we started this thing where we feed the street dogs in our community. And we feed them like in 3 different spots. We give them water and we give them food twice a week. And it's really sad. And anyhow, so we were helping with this lady that also spades. Is it spade? Yeah, spades the females so that they don't get pregnant, the street dogs. And we were helping with donations to do that. And then her mother had a stroke, and so we just pretty much took over that whole thing. And then from there, we had a dog come to us from her that she was going to get spayed. And long story short, Mexico doesn't mark dogs in any way, shape, or form when they get spaded or neutered.
Mm-hmm.
And so what they did is they took her into the vet, opened her up, found out she was already fixed.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to sew her back up. And then I said I would just take any of these dogs, and they needed like a 10-day recovery. So that's how we got our first dog. Marc ended up falling in love with her. She reminded him, I think, of our last dog that we had to put down. But she was a female version. And so anyhow, we kept her. And then about 2 weeks later, there was another dog that I saw on the street that was coming down my street, and she looked sad, kind of pathetic. So I would try to take out food and water to her. Finally, I coaxed her, got her in my driveway. And I told Marc, I said, you know what? I feel like I just got to take her in. I don't know why, but I feel like I got her. Are you okay with that? He's like, all right, one more dog. So we took her in and took her to the vet to get her all checked out. No good deed goes unpunished. We found out she was pregnant. So anyhow, that was our second dog. So we took really good care of her, fed her really well. She ended up having 9 healthy babies that we found homes for all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and so that was a good story. People are like, oh, are you going to, send her away now? It's like, no, how can you do that? I can't do that to animals. She's ours now. So we took her in, and that was 2 years ago. And then Nico, we came across him about 3 months ago when we were feeding the street dogs. He came out from the field, severe case of mange. Oh, just worst that I've ever seen on a dog. He was like hairless in a lot of areas. His face was disfigured. So we ended up coaxing him, getting him in the car, taking him to the vet. Long story short, it's 3 months later, and he's our dog. Now he's going to go in to get neutered.
Yeah, I mean, I was up there just feeding and watering the dogs, and he came out, and he looked pretty sad. I took a picture of him, sent him to Paulette, and I came back here, and we talked about it, and realized we got to help this dog.
Yeah.
So we went back up to the top. It took us like an hour. I mean, we were able to get a collar, at least a collar on him, but it took us like an hour to coax him to get in the car with us. Mm-hmm. And then from there, we took him immediately to the vet.
Yeah. And treated him and got him like a pill that he had to take every couple of weeks, and then bathing him every other day, and yada, yada, yada. So that's the story of our latest 3 months ago.
Wow. And you must be animal whisperers to get these dogs that probably don't trust most people to allow you to even handle them.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with them. And it's just such a sad thing. It really is in Mexico with the street dogs. And a lot of them have collars on them with name tags that people have just released.
They've left, yeah.
And it's sad. It's really a sad situation. So, it's like they need love, they need care for. So That's what we do besides adopting the 3 that we have. And they're pretty good sized dogs. They're all in 60-pound range. So they're not little dogs by any means.
Yeah, and this last one is still a year old, so he's still a puppy.
Yeah,
he's going to be
and he's a
considerably
shepherd.
bigger.
He's a shepherd. So
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Wow. And so dogs have, you always had dogs, like since you were growing up? Like, are dogs just always a part of your life, or?
yeah, I mean, I mostly was a cat lover because they were easier to deal with, like cats are kind of like, oh, feed me, let me out. They don't want a whole lot of requirement. Where dogs, there's a little bit more work to them, and, but it's just that unconditional love. And yeah, I mean, it was not in our plan. Trust me. We had no idea we were going to be taking in 1, 2, let alone 3 street dogs. So now we had to join that house sit Mexico because now we need a house sitter.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I noticed some of your videos. You guys go to other parts of Mexico on vacations. So I guess you need dog sitters.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's housesitmexico.com, right? Is that the website?
It's housesit.com. Yeah. And Mark and I, if anybody did want to join it, if they wanted to see Mexico, have their accommodations for free, we also have a code that they could put in. And I think it's like 20% that they can save.
Yeah. Yeah. I did click that in your video that day that I found you guys, and I did go and check it out. So I haven't signed up yet, but it's on my radar.
Yeah, but when you make it to Mexico, you could do that.
But you're right, Lyndsie. It's housesitmexico.com.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to ask one more question, but Mark, I think you were going to say something. No,
I think Paulette pretty much stated what I was thinking of saying. I mean, it was not. We were just going to take care of dogs, if they needed help, and then, We
can't take care of them and then release them back into the street.
That's what it is here. Is like you can take care of a dog while they're healing from whatever surgery they might have had, but ultimately, if you don't take that dog in, they're probably going to be released out into some open field somewhere. And we couldn't see investing that kind of time and energy into it just to turn a dog back loose into the same environment.
Right. Right. And are you guys working with any, organizations that bring dogs to the U.S. or Canada to kind of get them out of? No?
No, I know some areas in Mexico do that. Our area does not. So
and part of it is, I think there's not a large expat population where we live.
Yeah.
Compared to say like Ajijic or Chapala or San Miguel, that have they're smaller cities, but they have considerably larger expat populations.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So I wanted to go back to like 10, 15, even maybe 20 years ago and find out a bit about just your, all those working years and just how you built up your life to be able to move to Mexico. Maybe when you got the idea originally that you might want to move to Mexico, like tell me some of the stories.
Well, 20 years ago, I was working in the IT field. I did that. That was basically my career for 25 or more years. And Paulette and I have only been together about 15 or 16 years. And so 20 years ago predates us being together. But, I was just living my life and not really having much of a plan for what I was going to do.
Where were you doing that work, Mark?
In Sacramento, California. Didn't really have much of a plan for what I was going to do after. I was in my early 40s, late 30s, early 40s at the time. And so, I mean, I had a pension plan, but, I had no idea what I was going to do after retirement.
And then Paulette came along with this brilliant idea, and here you are.
Yeah, when we first got together, I mean, we weren't really thinking about it either. It was only about maybe 2014, 2015 when we realized, when we retire, we want a different life for ourselves outside of the U.S. somewhere. And so we explored some places and like Spain, Portugal. We actually went to Ecuador twice. And then in 2018, we came to Mexico and just really fell in love with it. And it was a good fit for us because, if there's some sort of family emergency, we could get home relatively quickly compared to the other places. It would have taken at least 24 hours, to fly back. Here in Mexico, we can, if we wanted to, we could actually drive our car back.
Yeah. So to drive from Sacramento to where you are now, like how long of a drive is that?
Well, that would be probably 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, about 4. We're not those hardcore drivers, like 15, 20 hours. No, we're old. We don't do that crap.
We're old. 6 or 8 hours of driving a day is enough.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes we'll do 10 if.
Plus, we like to stop at different fun places and shop. Yeah, someone does.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, if you're not in a rush to get back to work or to be somewhere, like why would you drive more than 6 or 8 hours a day, right?
Yeah. And getting back to moving to Mexico, like Mark said, we started watching some YouTube channels of travel, different places. We had a whole list that we would watch on, and then it was like, nah, exit out, next. Okay, watch it, learn what we could, exit out, stuff like that. And then again, like he said, when we came to Mexico, we just realized this was it. It was nice and close to home if we needed to get back for family and friends. And we just fell in love with everything about Mexico.
Yeah. I mean, how cool is it when you can, we drive about a 15-minute drive downtown and we can walk amongst buildings that are 400 years old, 300 years old, and still in use and still just amazing looking. That is just a privilege, I think,
Right. And if you want to go to the beach, you're a fairly short flight from.
Yeah, we're more in the mountains, so we would either bus it. And by the way, transportation in Mexico is excellent. By the way, very reasonable in cost, and leave the driving to the bus driver. You can take a siesta, you could play games, you could chat with a friend on the phone, whatever, and don't have to worry about anything.
The buses are very comfortable.
Yeah. Better and much more leg room than an airplane.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry for the dogs barking.
Oh, that's okay. It fits right into the theme, really, so it's great.
I mean, as an example, we usually, if we're going to the West Coast of Mexico, we'll take the bus to Guadalajara, stay the night there, and then finish the route the next day, because it's still probably a 10 or 12-hour drive somewhere in there.
10 or 12-hour drive for what? To go our destination?
To go to the West Coast,
of
Mexico.
Yeah. And from where we live, it's about 6 hours to Guadalajara or Mexico City, something like that.
Okay. And so when you drive, like when you come across the border into Mexico and you're going to drive through Mexico, tips, tricks, do's, don'ts, what have you learned? Because I'm thinking of doing this, by the way.
Stay on the toll roads. Always try to drive in packs with other cars. Only drive during the daylight hours, not necessarily because of crime or anything like that, but the problem is at nighttime, there might be an animal in the road or something, and the roads are not as well lit as you
True. And potholes, they call them topes here. And no, those are the bumps.
Yeah,
the speed bumps are called topes. And sometimes they're not marked at all, and you could really.
My joke about the topes is sometimes if you're not careful, they'll launch you into low Earth orbit.
Yeah. So that's the reason, really, for not driving at night is there could be an animal that gets in front of your vehicle because it's not well lit, and the holes in some of the highways here.
Yeah, so I guess back to YouTube. Do you want to give us a little sneak peek or a little teaser of any videos that you want to make in the next few months? Do you have any ideas for videos, or maybe get a little vote going on things few of your ideas and see which one's the most popular with your viewers?
Well, we're going to have some videos coming up where we're going to actually be in the Yucatan Peninsula during the hottest time of the year, which was, I mean, we're not really into the heat that much.
No.
However, Paulette has a bucket list thing to do, to swim with whale sharks, and that's the best time to do it, is during like July and August on the Yucatan
It's my
Peninsula.
65th birthday coming up, like next week. So what we decided to do is we booked in April, and we're going to go there for 10 days and do maybe 1 or 2 adventures swimming with whale sharks. I don't know if you know anything about them, but
Yeah,
they're
it's on my list. It's on my list.
yeah. And I became like a PADI certified scuba diver. Gosh, I don't even know, 30 years ago, maybe something like that, 25 years ago. And that's always been on my bucket list. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Those are going to be amazing videos for your channel.
Oh,
Yeah.
I certainly hope so. He's got his GoPro and it can go in the water, so not a problem.
Oh my gosh, I
Yeah.
can't wait to see that. That'll be great. That'll be great. So is that a road trip or flying or?
No, that's
No,
flying.
actually flying.
We actually can fly straight on Valeras from where we live in San Luis Potosi directly to Cancun.
Can.
So,
okay.
yeah, so that's what we're going to do.
Okay. That's where I'm headed in October, November, is to Playa del Carmen.
Okay.
So, but I do want to drive because I have a dog and I don't want to put my dog on the plane because I've just heard
Sure.
things. So I'm.
What kind of dog?
He's a border collie.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's. I'm not sure what he's going to think of it, but he's coming with me. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll have to figure out what the U.S. is going to require when you cross from the Canada into the U.S. And then hopefully it's, you know, what you're able to get will also cover you from crossing from the U.S. into Mexico.
Right.
As far as the dog goes, and, you know, vaccination records and that kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm kind of like you guys. I think when you were saying you had like your list and you're looking at all the videos and checking all the things, I'm kind of in that mode right now, which is kind of how I found you guys too. So I'm trying to find all the answers and the different ways of doing things as quickly and, you know, easily as possible. So, but it's nice to know you guys. I might be shooting you some emails in the coming months to get some of your feedback on things.
Lyndsey, have you joined any like expat pages in Mexico?
No, I have not.
Okay, because there's a lot on there, and you can ask a lot of questions like, hey, you know, I'm going to be crossing the border with my dog in the future. Can you tell me, you know, like if you have an idea where you might be crossing or anything, you could say, you know, did you have to do vaccines for your animals? Did you have to show record? Did you blah, blah, blah? Because I've heard both stories where they don't ask anything, and then I've heard that they do. So.
Right. I've heard it's really hard to go back from Mexico with the dog. It's really hard to get into the States with the dog, and it's even harder to get back into Canada. But coming down, I've heard, is easy peasy. So I don't know. I'll keep researching and see what I can find out. And they keep changing things, right? Like they keep changing the rules. So
that's true.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be on any hard deadlines or anything. I'll be kind of just traveling and staying wherever and Airbnbs, and they'll be really casual, so I won't be in a big rush or anything. So if I do get held up for a few days and need to go to a vet or something, it'll be okay.
And you know that you do have to stop and get a tip, right? A temporary import permit on your vehicle?
No, this is stuff that I'm still trying to figure out, so that's good to know.
Yeah, you do. Depending on where you're coming in, it would depend where you're going to be stopping at the immigration facility there, and you do have to purchase a tip. It's called a temporary import permit for your vehicle.
Right.
And that's good for 6 months.
Okay.
And they do take credit cards or they can do cash.
Okay.
And then you also have to have Mexican car insurance too. Your Canada car insurance is not going to do squat here in Mexico.
Yeah.
So you can buy that beforehand, or you can buy that when you're in the immigration. You know, because you have to show them your passport to cross over I think they just stamp it now. I don't think they give you that. It's called a FMM form that they were giving you, a little small piece of paper like this. But I understand that they've done away with that and they just stamp your passport instead. So yeah, I mean, we could talk to you more in detail.
Yeah, I want to have a conversation with you too whenever you have a little time for me to pick your brain about all this stuff. Just get your ideas.
And then the other thing of importance is if you don't own your car outright, if there's a lien holder on the title of your car, you have to have permission from them to drive the car into Mexico.
Well, mine's been paid for a while, so that's one thing off the list at least. But that's very interesting.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of smart because I mean, when you guys first went to Mexico, did you know you were fully moving and you were kind of taking one of your first trips, or did you kind of?
Well, we knew it. Yeah, we knew it when we came here in 2018, and we fell in love with Mexico. We said, okay, this is the destination for us. It's close to home. We love the culture, the people, the beauty of Mexico. It's a win-win. So we knew at that point when we went back, we pretty much said, okay, we're going to move to Mexico. And we put our house on the market, did all that stuff. Well, before we put the house on the market, we started doing that purging. Yeah. Purging does take a while to do, actually.
Not for me. Yeah. Good for her, though. For me, it was all just stuff. Get rid of it. Give it to. For me, it was totally different. It was personal, sentimental things that I had to figure what I was willing to part with, what I wasn't. And he told me, you know what? If you just take off for a couple of hours, I could take care of all of this for you. Which then made her madder.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think that went over well, Mark.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So you guys. I'm just curious to know, like, what did you actually bring? Like a U-Haul, 2 U-Hauls? Like, how much stuff did you bring? Did you get rid of so much stuff, or did you keep a lot of stuff?
We brought as much as would fit into our car, but we made like 3 trips. Over time, we made 3 trips back and forth.
We did.
And was it ever tricky at the border going back and forth, or were you fine to just go back and forth with stuff? Like, were they ever questioning whether you were moving?
Well, here's a story for you. The first time we crossed, we had used those like space bags where you can vacuum all the air out and it compresses stuff pretty small.
Yeah.
Well, the border agent on the Mexico side decided he wanted to see what was in that. And so we had to open all our bags, which caused them all doing a lot of them, which caused them all to reinflate and stuff. And so we had to take some extra time to suck the air back out of those bags.
Yeah, we brought a little pump that we could just plug into the cigarette lighter in case that happened. And when you cross the border, another thing to know is that you'll get either a green light that tells you they're not going to stop you, they're not going to pull you over, and you can go right through, or you'll get a red light, which means they might want to search your vehicle.
Yeah, they have that at the Cancun airport. It's very random. Like, it's just not.
Oh, they do? I don't know. We haven't been there yet, so yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've been there a few times in the last few years, and every time they've got this light, and they literally they're like, hit the button, and you walk over and you hit the button, and it's either a red light or a green light.
Oh, interesting.
And it's not it's random. So maybe it's the same thing that they're doing at the.
Yeah, I think it's pretty much the same thing.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this time we'll be flying domestically, so I don't know that.
Yeah, they probably
will be faced with that or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. So I think I noticed on one of your YouTube videos you were doing kind of a little bit of an endorsement. You were talking a little bit about a product or a jewelry or a perfume or something.
Oh, it was this perfume. Yeah. It was called Dossier. Yeah, Dossier. And I guess they contacted us about if we wouldn't mind trying out these perfumes, or, men, women, kind of neutral perfumes where it could be a man or a woman can use it. And so I said, yeah, I'm up for it. Yeah. So I think he got 2 and he hasn't even used his. And I've got 7 of them, and I love them. They're really reasonably priced, like maybe $25 for I forget what it is, 1.7 ounce. Yeah. And I really like the scents a lot, and they last.
Company?
Huh?
And that's a Mexican company, the perfume company?
Well, they're actually based in the U.S., although they have a delivery point here in Mexico.
Okay.
I mean, we've gotten other offers for sponsorships for like Wise and a few other things. We kind of basically turned those all down because our I don't want our channel to be about just sponsored videos and that kind of thing. It's our channel is monetized, and whenever we do get money, we use it to feed the street dogs, but we're not into this to make a living off of YouTube by any means.
Yeah, same here. It's all about spreading great message, great content. But there is that sweet spot that you get to where all of a sudden it's like a hockey stick, and it's just like, whew, and so many people find you, and then you can just, you can have a bigger impact. You can do more. You can spread your message to more of the people who need it. So that's really exciting. I think, that's one thing we all have in common here is that we really want to make an impact and spread good news, right? There's so much negativity. Mexico, there's so many videos that are, warning and don't do this and don't go here. And it's really people that want to get views, right? It's often exaggerated, it's blown up, it's BS half the time. And it's just refreshing to meet a couple of people who are out there spreading good news.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people use what we call clickbait thumbnails. They'll use words like urgent, warning, and some of the other words that you mentioned to get people to click on their thumbnail, and then you watch it and you realized, okay, they were just clickbaiting me to watch their video, and I don't want our channel to be about that. I want it to be about just this looks interesting. And obviously, if we do put out a video that's like a warning type of video, like we did, like one time crossing the border in Laredo, and
that was a true situation.
We had a police escort and stuff like that. But,
and I remember your video about the car too. You guys bought a car, and there was a situation with that. I watched that one, and I was like, because I was debating, I'm like, should I be renting a car and driving through the U.S. and then leaving the car in the U.S. and then maybe buying a car when I get across the border, just to not have my Canadian vehicle in Mexico? And so I watched your video to kind of, so that was not good for you guys.
Well, you know what? Talking about that we did drive our U.S. plated car into Mexico, but we didn't come across on the 180-day, 6-month tourist visa. We both, I stayed a temporary, because temporary you can only bring your vehicle or as a tourist. If you're permanent, like he got permanent residency after the year that we were here, and that was okay, but one of us still had to remain temporary to keep the car here for 4 years. That's what you're allowed. After 4 years, you either have to nationalize your car, which is very confusing and very costly, which we didn't do. So one of us, again, had to remain temporary in order to keep our U.S. plated car here, Canada plated car, whatever, your foreign plated car. But if you're coming across as a tourist, because you're too young, you're not going to be a temporary resident, I don't think, or permanent.
Maybe she could be a digital nomad.
I am a digital nomad, you guys. I am a digital nomad. My son just graduated like 2 weeks ago, so I am like free as a bird. I know. I don't know where I'm going to be. Me and my dog, we got places to go. So I do make money online. I can do it from anywhere. So I'm exploring all the options. I'm kind of where you guys were.
And you know what? Kind of what you're talking about right now. We just did a video that I don't know if any of your female audience wants to watch, but it's a solo female traveler.
Yes,
here
I watched
in Mexico
that one.
by herself.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, sometimes we'll meet subscribers. They'll say, "Hey," they'll send us an email or message us, "Hey, I'm going to be coming to San Luis Potosí. We would love to meet up with you." And that's exactly what happened with Deborah. She contacted us. We got in contact, met her, like her, and now we're friends.
Yeah.
But she's a solo traveler, and kudos to her. I mean, honestly, I will be 100% straight up. I don't know that I could do it myself. Okay. I just don't know. But I have so much respect and admiration for these women that can definitely do it by themselves. I love it. And so we asked Deborah, can we go ahead and interview, because we think that this would be very inspirational, because there are a lot of female women that want to move to Mexico that are hesitant about it. And I thought she was a great person to do the interview with.
Even originally, she wasn't quite sure about it. She went back to her place, thought about it for a day, and realized that, this could be very helpful for solo women travelers in Mexico who have different fears about security and things like that. And so,
it was a great video, and I'll link to it in the show notes here on my YouTube channel for sure, because I agree that's a great video for women to watch. I held a retreat in Playa del Carmen in January, and I'm doing 2 retreats while I'm there. So I'm bringing groups of entrepreneurs to me, and then my mom's going to be there with me for a while, and my son's going to come out to visit, and so I'm kind of staggering lots of visitors. So I don't feel like I'm totally going to be alone while I'm there.
Sure.
I already know a few people in that area, and I know Playa del Carmen isn't a lot of people don't like how busy it is, but I love how busy it is, and I want busy, lots to do, lots of tourism. I want that, at least for a while. But one thing that I wanted to say before we hop off, because I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, is I am going to send you each a copy of my new book. This is it's called "It's Time to Write Your Damn Book, Woman." And sorry, Mark, it does say woman. Get your own. I'm going to send you guys a thank you gift for hopping on today and for sharing some wonderful stories and some wonderful tips. And and I do think you guys should definitely write a book about your experience of moving to Mexico. And I think it'd be a great beach read for people who are maybe staying at a resort and thinking that they'd rather just have an Airbnb and then eventually want to move down that chain to being where you guys are today and sharing some of your stories and do's and don'ts. So maybe I'll twist your rubber arm into writing a book too sometime in the next year.
Well, when we first moved to Mexico, I was thinking about doing a book, and what I did is I collected from a bunch of people like a questionnaire that I asked them about, why are you considering moving to Mexico? Have you been to Mexico? Why do you want to retire in Mexico? And all these different questions. And I still have a stack like this. I just haven't done anything with it yet.
Perfect. No. All right. Well, like I said, I want to have a conversation with you two offline and just ask a bunch of my burning questions, but would also love to hear more about your book idea and be able to help you get that out into the world. And sorry, Mark, I think I cut you off there. What were you going to say? You're trying to talk to 2 other women. That must be really hard for you.
I got a question for you, being, a digital nomad. Probably one of the more difficult things for me was being comfortable in front of the camera.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering if that's your experience as well, or if you were pretty comfortable just from the get-go.
I think from the get-go, I was more so than most people. I grew up with a camera in my face. My dad was a huge camera guy. He was always taking pictures of all of our adventures. And I was the only one out of my siblings where I was like, "Oh, Dad, pictures again." I was posing. I was like, and so all the pictures are usually of the whole family being normal and me being So I've always kind of liked the camera. But as far as the what to say, that was the hardest thing for me.
Yeah.
I would shoot 27 takes of a video where I was literally saying 3 or 4 sentences because I was trying to script it too much. And I didn't trust myself to just speak. And once I realized that if I just had a few bullet points on a piece of paper, I generally wouldn't even glance down at it. It's just knowing that I have it in case I get stuck just was enough to kind of keep me moving. So for me, it wasn't so much about getting in front of the camera. I've never really been a perfectionist. I'll just throw on some fun glasses and put in some hair extensions and who cares? Just get on there. But it used to be the words that stressed me out. What if I sound like I don't know what I'm talking about? Or what if I say the wrong word? And then eventually that went away too, because everything happens, right? We just get better.
Yeah, we've had that trouble too. We've tried scripting our videos pretty much, but that never works out for us because halfway through, whatever you're saying, you've forgotten what the second part was and stuff. And
or you goof it up and you say the wrong thing. You're okay. Let's start over. Let's do it again.
And like you, that's where you get into the 27 takes mode. But we've just learned to, if we have a list of topics we're doing, we'll just do like the list
Bullets.
of topics,
Yeah.
and then it'll just be free form talking about it. And in that way, you at least getting it all on audio, and you can edit, some parts out where you've made a mistake or whatever.
And sometimes we will do the, I don't know what you call it, like the voiceover or whatever, like we're not talking because it's too noisy or there's too much traffic or whatever. And then we'll just do the video and then talk through it after.
Or there's copyrighted music playing in the background.
Oh, isn't that frustrating?
Yeah.
I hate that. I'm like, oh, dang it. Now I have to redo that part or voiceover. Yeah, I'm just so impatient, and I like just getting stuff out there. Like, that's part of why I do my podcast like this. I like hitting both the video and the audio with one take, and I don't even edit these. Like, if someone came back to me and said, oh my God, I said blah, 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 and I can't put that out there. Like, I would totally edit it, but that literally has never happened. I would, but I've never had to.
Right.
Yeah, it's all about just get it out there. But yeah, when you have to voice over something because the song was playing on YouTube, it's
and sometimes, I don't always edit out all of our mistakes, because sometimes it's just fun to leave them in there, and, and hopefully other people get a laugh out of them, or they just figure out these people are old and probably have Alzheimer's or something, but.
But that was one of the things that I loved about your video. Not that you were old and you seemed like that Alzheimer's, but that you guys are so just natural. Like, you're just clearly real people. You're not trying to swindle anyone. You're you're taking time out of your day to make these valuable videos, but your cute little chemistry and your little quirky little things you say, and like, I just love it all. So I just think what you're doing is great. And
I like how Marc does, like, he'll put like funny things in the video too.
Well,
I think they're funny.
Things that I think are funny anyway, but
I do like that. And honestly, if I think like one day when I'm not working as much, I would love to put more effort into my videos and do more fun things like that. I think that would be really cool, because I'm like you, Marc. I have these funny things that go through my mind, and sometimes I don't say them out loud. But then when I go back and edit the video, remember what I was thinking at that moment, and then I want to put it in a little bubble, but I'm too like impatient to just get it out. I don't. But good for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to keep you guys, because I know you're donating your time to our channel, and so thank you so much. But I do want to ask you one last question each. I'll start with Paulette. Is there anything you want to leave the audience with? Any like final message, even a story? Is there anything that we haven't covered yet that you want to leave our listeners and viewers with?
Well, I would say, are you talking about maybe starting a YouTube channel, or are you talking about maybe making a move?
Well, I think you could speak to either one or both, whichever you want.
Yeah, I would say that if somebody was out there thinking about starting a YouTube channel, just do it. I mean, when Marc and I look at our videos from when we started out, we're like, oh my God, that was awful. Horrible.
Yeah.
The sound and what we were doing and uncomfortableness and all that stuff. But you got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You got to start somewhere, and don't give up on that idea. Go for it. And, all you're going to do is improve as you're going along, and the next thing is, I think if you're thinking about making a move somewhere, whether it's Mexico or some other country, I don't think there's an effing failure at all. I mean, I think that if that's something that you want to do, research it, watch videos. That's what we did. We watched a bunch of videos to see where we wanted to go, and then we went there and we tried. I always tell everybody, boots on the ground. That's how you're going to know. You're going to get a feeling, and if it's a good feeling, revisit that feeling. Go back there 6 months later or whatever and see, do you still feel that same way, or has something changed? But I don't think that if you're adventurous enough to make a move somewhere, I think kudos to you for doing it. I mean, honestly, if it doesn't work out, oh well, the hell with it. You tried. That's what matters. That's the only thing that matters, that you tried. You did more than 90% of the people out there would do.
Oh man, I have so many more questions for you around that, like other people that have done it, and if there's people in your community where you live that from California, or like, you know, what kind of friends you're making. But anyways, we'll do a part 2 another
Yeah,
time.
part 2.
What about you, Marc? Like message you want to leave everyone with to do with starting the channel, and then if you want to switch over to moving to Mexico?
Yeah, it's for me because I do pretty much all the editing on our videos, and she's like the final approver. Paulette is, and it just takes time and practice and learning software and stuff like that, which is something I enjoy doing anyway.
Yeah.
For me, the whole video thing just gives me something to do that I enjoy doing.
Yeah.
And it takes a while. Like a lot of my videos where we're not just sitting in front of the camera talking, I probably spend about 45 minutes editing the video for every minute you see.
Really?
On it, just going back and forth over it, trying to come up with some effects or graphics that make sense or add something to it, or
then putting
just,
the music in.
Yeah, that are just kind of funny, and then selecting the right type of music for whatever segment I'm working in at the time.
Yeah.
And as far as like moving to Mexico
or anywhere,
yeah, probably the biggest obstacle I would say is the language barrier.
Yeah.
And that was, and it was for us, and it still is in many ways.
We suck.
But the difference is we try to pick up some new words, learn some new sentences and stuff, and not be afraid to screw up in public when you're out with your Mexican friends, because they're not going to judge you. They're going to ultimately laugh at it and then help you.
Yeah, and tell you the right way that you
Yeah.
should say it. Or if you're not with your Mexican friends and you're in a restaurant or you're in a store or whatever, just try. I mean, for me, it took me a long time not to even want to say anything, because I wasn't sure, because the Spanish language is kind of backwards from what we're used to learning, how we say it, where a lot of it's kind of backwards, and your mind has to kind of think about it and process it, and how's it going to come out and stuff like that. But it's all an experience. It's all an adventure. Just try, and if you fail, they're real good about correcting you or laughing with you, not at you. And it kind of breaks the ice, and I think they appreciate that we're trying our best.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Well, yeah, that's my first thing on the to-do list when I get there, is to find some sort of local Spanish lesson class, like a weekly thing or a twice weekly thing, and like get in there and start learning with other people.
But,
so
you can do the online things like Duolingo.
Yeah, have you heard of the Duolingo?
Yeah, I tried Babbel for a while, but I'm not
Babbel.
a good DIY learner unless it's something I really, really want to do and like need to do. And I feel like I didn't have the urgency, so I just never did it.
Right.
So I feel like
immersion helps a lot. But I'm going to give you, I brought this example up a few times now, but when we first moved to Mexico, we went into this cafe, and almost one of the first things that Paulette said is, yo quiero todo el café, which she literally said, I want all the coffee. The waiters just started looking at her like, what?
And they were like, are you sure? Like what? So, there's going to always be screw ups, things that we say. We'll say the wrong word, or I think I've got it, and then something else comes out of my mouth where I'm like, what the hell? What did I just say that for? And it's like, I didn't mean to say that. Yeah, I don't know. It's just what happens.
But you laugh it off and you have a good time, and that's it. And then you move on to your next thing. Just don't be afraid of not getting everything right, because you're not. But have fun with it. If you screw up, have fun with it.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, I think the locals really appreciate that you're trying. No matter how bad you screw it up, I think they appreciate it, that you're really taking the time, because like there's times that we'll meet somebody and we'll ask them if they speak English. Nope, they don't speak a lick of it, and that's okay. We can't really do conversational Spanish. I kind of lose it after like about 1.5 sentences, and then the speed, it's like everything just sounds like blah. and it all runs together. And in my head, I'm thinking each individual
Yeah.
word and trying to understand it. So I get lost a lot of times in
Yeah.
conversation.
Because they'll say a paragraph and it just sounds like one long word.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, por favor, you know, habla más despacio, which means please speak more slowly. So that is a key phrase. And donde es el baño? You know,
Where's the bathroom?
Where's the bathroom? You know, those two phrases will get you a long way.
But it doesn't matter. Every time you ask them to slow down, they don't slow down at all.
Yeah.
And when they ask you, like, they'll say, like, do you speak Spanish? And we'll tell them, you know, yeah, that we speak a little bit of Spanish. And then what'll happen is that they'll just ramble on again. And it's like, oh, I am not getting all of this, you know, and then we tell them to slow down. It doesn't matter. So it's like, okay, well, you know, I caught a word here, there.
Yeah.
It's something to do with this. I don't know.
Yeah, and you can kind of figure out the general idea of what they were saying.
Yeah.
Or trying to convey, yeah.
Okay. Well, I have so many questions for you guys about, like, you know, cell phone plans and SIM cards and, you know, all these stuff and, you know, dog sitting and so many things. So I would love to have another chat with you guys, and I'll get your address from you in the box. I can send you your books from Amazon. And again, just thank you so much for being on YouTube, being these wonderful, bright, shining lights on YouTube, sharing all your stuff. And I know that you're going to encourage more people to do that through sharing your stories today. So thank you so much. All right.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, follow them on YouTube at The Two Travelers in Mexico. All right. Bye for now.